Welcome to the 1 Minute Apologist. My guest with us today is Mike Licona, who is an author and sought-after speaker. He has co-authored a book on the resurrection with Gary Habermas. It's good to be with you, Mike.
Well, you too. Thanks.
Hey, listen, if you could just help us to understand this idea of the resurrection. We know it's been under attack ever since it's happened.
Well, I think the first thing we would do is we would look at some facts that would be so strongly evidenced that they have convinced nearly every single scholar who studied this subject to regard them as historical facts, including skeptical ones. That would be things such as Jesus' death by crucifixion, that subsequent to his death, that Jesus' disciples had experiences that they interpreted as Jesus appearing to them risen from the dead, and that these occurred in individual and in group settings. And third, that there was a skeptic, a persecutor of the church named Paul, who converted to Christianity when he had an experience that he believed was of the risen Jesus appearing to him. Now this would be like the modern day Osama bin Laden, who has an experience and then converts from Islam to Christianity to his own demise and preaching to the Muslim world and gets stoned for it. This is kind of like what we're looking at with Paul. So now as historians, what we want to do is we want to come up with a hypothesis that will best explain these three facts. And we would do this, determine which is the best hypothesis by saying which one accounts for all three facts rather than just one or two, which can account for them without bending them or forcing them to fit like a square peg in a round hole. And third, what can we do it without any, which hypothesis does it best without any non-evidenced assumptions? And the resurrection beats the others hands down. So for example, the leading naturalistic explanation, hallucinations, it can account for Jesus' death by crucifixion. It can account for the appearances to individuals, but not the group appearances, because hallucinations are not group phenomena. And it can't account for the appearance to the skeptic Paul because he wasn't in a state of grief. So, I mean, you could kind of force those to fit, but then you lose explanatory power because you're forcing them to fit. With resurrection, all three fit very easily. If Jesus rose from the dead, it explains his death by crucifixion, why numerous people in individual and group settings believe they saw him risen from the dead, and why even a skeptic saw him risen from the dead. So historically speaking, forget, assuming that the Bible is trustworthy in any manner. Just taking the facts upon which most everybody agrees on, you can come to the resurrection of Jesus as the best explanation, and thus we should regard it as an event that occurred in history.